Well, good evening. I would like to call this work session on Monday, February 23rd to order. It is 5:02 p.m. and I would like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Stevens, could you please call the roll of the board members?
Yes, ma'am. Well, board docs will let me in a moment. And I'll just take it a moment. Mrs. McMurray,
Here.
Mrs. Dillard,
Here.
Mrs. Ernst,
Here.
Ms. Plyman,
Here.
Mr. Thompson.
Here.
All present and counted for. We can continue the meeting.
Thank you. Next, is there a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's work session?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Dillard.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Plyman. Is there any discussion regarding the work session agenda this evening? Okay, seeing and hearing none. Mr. Stevens, can we call the vote for the agenda?
Dillard,
Yes.
Plyman,
Yes.
Ernst,
Yes.
McMurray,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay, the approval of the agenda passes. First item on our work agenda is a discussion item regarding special pay 403B plan. And you can see that there are attachments within the agenda item in the public content. Mr. Stevens, I'm gonna let you take the floor, sir.
So I've been asked to bring the topic up about implementing an employer special pay 403B plan for our employees. This allows employees to shelter more of their final severance pay when they resign or retire from the district. And so I have looked into that plan. And I am bringing that forward to the board for a discussion on that before we move forward as a district, if we decide to move forward. This would be a plan that would affect all the employees, administration, non-teaching and teaching, and it allows employees using IRS law, it allows them to take what would normally be their severance pay, and in the past we've been having them put it into employee plans, which are limited by IRS laws. I think right now the max that they can put into a plan is $32,500 in a 403B and $32,500 in a 457. The problem with that is if you have employees that are financially putting money away throughout their final year, so we have employees that are participating in 403B and 457s throughout the year. When they're putting their money, their current paychecks into those 403B plans, that limit, they're reducing how much they can put at the end when they officially retire. And so what we're finding is employees have been contributing all year, and so then there's nothing left for them to be able to put into their employee plan. The IRS allows us to have an employer special plan where they can put, let me see if I can remember where that was. The limit is much higher. Employer contribution limit is $72,000. So what that would mean is not only have they been able to put all of their money that they've been putting away for their last year into their 403B or 457 plan, if they have an employer 403B plan, we can put up to $72,000 into that account for them. And that would pretty much cover anyone who has a large significant sick leave balance when they retire. Our current policy, the most you can have is 210 days, and then that's multiplied by a factor to reduce that down. But we do have some longtime employees that leave here with large severance packages from their unpaid sick leave. And so this would just allow them to be able to shelter the entire payment and not have to pay taxes on that, and it would go into their retirement account on their behalf. And because it's a special pay plan, they have the ability to move the money immediately, because we would have to, I am suggesting that we use Equitable. We partner with Equitable. You can only select one firm to handle these for you on your behalf. And Equitable is the group that we're working with. We have a great representative who meets with most of our employees at the end of their retirement, or at the end of their last year. And so I'm suggesting we work with Equitable, set up this plan. They will meet with every employee who is retiring. We'll help them set up an account, and then they would have to put their money into this account, and then they can move it all out the next day or move it to their own retirement account with another investment firm. This is just a way for them to shelter their funds. Right now, when an employee retires, they're still required to pay Medicare taxes, and they're still required to pay Tipp City taxes. So they can't shelter all of it. Through the employer-sponsored plan, we put 100% into their retirement fund. And also, Tipp City Schools does not have to pay the matching Medicare requirement as well. So this actually helps us as well. So that is the plan in itself. Are there any questions?
So once they retire, is there any responsibility of the district to do anything with those accounts, or is it their responsibility to maintain their own account after they retire?
It's their own account. The only thing we have to do is have the employee meet with the Equitable representative. That representative helps them set up their account through TSA/EPARS. That's the group that we send retirement funds to. And then we just make a one-time payment to that account, and it is now theirs, and we're done. It actually makes it so that the payment does not go through payroll. It is a non-payroll expense at 100% of the calculated rate, and it just gets transferred over to the TSA group, and they take it from there. It's actually very simple, very clean. I did speak with the payroll director at Centerville, and she said it was really strange at first, but she said once you do it, they just started this back in 2024, but she said once you do it, it's really simple. The representative from Equitable handles setting everything up. The only thing we do is put the money into it.
What other questions do you have for Mr. Stevens?
Do you know if in Centerville, or I know Troy was also referenced as a school,
Mhm.
have they gotten any feedback from the teachers, positive, negative, as far as
Ev-
if they want this or?
Every person that has met with Abby so far this year has said, please have the school district look into this as soon as possible, because they cannot do it until it has been approved by the school board. And if they're in the union has to approve an MOU, a memorandum of understanding, to put this into the current negotiated agreement. Until those are in place, the teachers would not be able to partake in it. For the administration and the non-teachers, they could take part in it as soon as the board resolution is set up. Wouldn't need an MOU for those groups. But yes, pretty much 100% they want this. Yep. There's also limits that can be put in this. If you're under 55, you don't have to participate in this mandatory 403B payment. Or if the dollar amount of your severance is less than $2,500, that's selected by us. We could say $5,000, $2,500. I'm suggesting $2,500. If it's less than that, they don't have to participate in it. But if it's over that, or if you're over 55, you would be required to do this. But the funds would also be there at your disposal the next day once payment is made. So it's accessible very quickly.
So it would be mandatory for people over 55?
Yes.
And who pays the commission to the financial planner, financial person?
There is no fee that I'm aware of. I think they get 100% of it into their account.
Okay.
So.
Do you take on the administrative role for managing these accounts?
There's nothing to manage.
Oh, okay.
The money gets put into their equitable investment account, and then they,
Self-directed after that?
they can move it to wherever they want.
Okay.
They can cash it out, they can withdraw it, they can move it to their own retirement account with American Fidelity or with Voya. It's instantly transferable once it's been paid into that account.
Gotcha.
What other questions? Lydia, you look like you have one, honey.
Do you know, is this gonna be an annuity-based plan? Because I know that regardless of age, there can be yes, the money goes to them immediately, but there can be a 5 to 7% surcharge if they want to withdraw the money immediately.
I don't believe that is the case in this.
Okay.
So,
Not if you roll it over.
Yeah.
Right.
If you roll it over into another program, now if you're under the age of retirement.
Yeah,
you
you'd
get
have
a
to pay the
10% penalty
penalty.
and a fee.
Yeah.
So, I do know a little bit about
I was just,
yeah, it's just made me realize that I haven't been putting money into my own 457 or 403B, and I need to really start doing that.
Is this the stage that we would need to set the money amount at 2,500 or?
We could discuss it right now and just say that we'd like to have, some places there is no limit and everybody has to do it unless they're under 55, and then they can say, no, I don't want to. But it just,
I would just probably hold off if this is something that you'd like to move forward with. We then have discussions with the TCEA for negotiations, and then that might
They might
influence
have
what it is,
Okay.
what we would be okay with. But
Yeah.
that would be a negotiated item for an MOU.
what I hear is that it's okay for Dave to move forward and at least bring it up with TCEA representation for additional discussion. Is that appropriate?
Yes. And if it can still, we can still board approve it for administrative contracts.
and non-teaching employees.
Not
Yeah.
the negotiated agreement.
Correct.
Okay.
But it's probably best just to do it all at the same time. So,
And I would suspect we could have this something by March,
Mhm.
for the next board meeting, if that's,
Yeah.
once we get all the information, to answer any questions, have it there in place for everybody to vote on in March or at least April.
yeah, there is one employee who's currently scheduled to retire April 3rd. And if it was not in place in March, this would affect them. They could still put money into a 403, their own 403B or 457 plan, but if they've been contributing all year, they're going to be limited in how much they can put of their severance into that account.
Would the March 23rd meeting meet the timeline
Mhm.
for that
That's what I was-
employee?
I was just
Yeah,
gonna
as
say.
long as it's been put into place, they should be fine.
And then the order of things is, would you do the negotiating with the union and have the MOU set up, and then we would vote on it all at the same time?
I would say vote it on all at the same time. Vote on the MOU, vote on the plan, and have it all set up and ready to go.
Great discussion. We good? Everybody cool? Okay, awesome. Thank you. Our next item for discussion is consideration of new positions. And you can see in public content that includes a technology integration specialist and a bus driver / custodian position. So I'm gonna yield the floor to Mr. Moran and Mr. Stevens to give us additional information on that.
So I share with everybody the idea behind both of those positions. We'll start with the technology integration specialist. So this is really combining a couple of current positions we have right now with technology and with the supplemental power school hourly rate that we have with the person. Power school is literally the life of everything. So all our student information goes through there. Everything that gets pulled out for EMIS, for financial stuff, for the call home system, everything is used by that. Log into any of our programs that our kids utilize. is all from this power school. And one thing that we've really come to realize is nobody really owned it. So Tech did some of this, everybody did their own little piece and tried to make it work for them. We think it's best to use these two positions, combine them into one. It's sort of consolidation of efforts into one position. And then everything, this person would own Power School and everything that goes into Power School. So we get a new technology program, making sure that everything matches so teachers can use it. EMIS, there's a person directly tied to EMIS for enrollment, for everything goes through this Power School technology integration specialist. That is really the main piece, is just kind of repurposing, consolidation of two positions into one that will meet the needs of the district as we move forward.
Before you go
Yep.
on to the other one,
Yeah, that's it. Well, go ahead.
I was just
Jump
gonna
in.
take questions about
Yeah.
that one first, if you
Yeah.
don't mind, just to split it up.
Yeah.
Is this taking one of the two positions and eliminating the other one, or are we saying we're gonna hire a brand new person for this while those two
We
positions
have,
still maintain?
no, it'd be those two positions, one person is going to be leaving at some point, and then another person's a supplemental person that wouldn't be, it'd be one person for that position, it wouldn't be keeping all three.
Okay,
So it'd be replacing the two with one, combining into one position would be a new person with probably a little bit different skills
okay,
for that.
gotcha.
So do we have a job description written up?
We will
yet?
have one, yeah, we have a pretty good idea, and I wanted to get it out there to see what the interest is, and then we can share that with you. And we have an idea on pay, we kind of have an idea on pay that we would need to flush out as well. So we'd have a job description plus a salary schedule. This would still be a classified position. That's what it is now, it's two kind of classified positions. We would keep it classified, and then we'd look to post it maybe in March, after the board meeting, look to post it after the March board meeting, if approved.
So Power School talks to EMIS, correct?
Yes, just about
And
it.
so it's really important for Power School to be really perfect.
Yeah, that's where our funding and everything else, a lot is derived from that.
And even testing. right?
Testing,
Yeah.
everything,
So-
we have to mandate some things, sharing testing information through Power School, all that stuff has to be there, correct?
So this person would have to work pretty closely with the EMIS coordinator?
With EMIS, with tech, it'd be a bridge between kind of the curriculum and the technology to meet the needs of people.
Sounds like a very needed position.
When would this position start? Is this a full-time position, so is that a full year position, or is that a school year position?
No, it'd be more of a full year position, especially with, when you're talking about enrollment. That happens throughout the summer, and making sure that kids are here ready, they're lined up, ready to be in the classroom right away. That's something that would go ongoing. We have that would be part of the job description. We're kind of nailing it to maybe a 250-day contract or somewhere around there right now is kind of what our thinking is. But that would be a full year position.
So Power School does all the scheduling too for middle school and high school?
There's scheduling within there. I think we're learning there's more things to do with Power School. And as we have somebody that's focused on that, we're hoping to even get rid of maybe some add-ons that we may not need. But this person would really be focused on how to use Power School to the best of its ability. But, and I'm making answer. When would this position start? Some of it's going to depend on the person. Ideally, it'd be nice to have some overlap between the current people that are working it to help them understand some of the pieces with enrollment and things like that, what they're currently doing that they have pieces of. So, if we put it in March, post it out in March, April, May, get somebody on board in May or something like that, that'd be great. And then it could have some time over the summer to work with, get some training on those with the current people, and then take over again, August 1st or July 1st, something like that. That'd be ideal. But that ideally doesn't always happen.
Ms. Lyman?
Just for clarification, the two people that are doing the overlap work, do both of them work directly for the district, or are they contracted with the district?
They work right now directly for the district.
And so both of them, their positions will cease to exist when this, if we're posting it, I'm assuming?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And they're both, I'd say they're both on their way to being totally, they're part-time on their way to retirement or
Okay.
leaving, more of an
We're not
attrition.
riffing
More
or
of-
anything
more of
like that,
attrition,
yeah.
attrition
Yeah.
piece
Okay.
is the right word for it.
I was simply gonna say there's a low-level anxiety that exists whenever there are people that don't own something like this, and it's left to others to just sort of try and figure it out and make it work, especially when it's something that you rely on, like Power School. That's pretty integral. So if you bring in a specialist, not only does that go away and you have a real expert, and I'm speaking from firsthand experience on this, when you have a real expert that is in that seat and can drive a system like this and then unlock its full potential, it does nothing but raise the water level for the whole district. So this could be a really important hire for sure.
So what I hear is that a potential job description and along with the pay schedule would be drafted over the next couple of weeks, and then we would be able to look at that.
It'd be out this week.
Oh, okay. And then we would be able to take a look at that and then approve it at the next board meeting in March.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions regarding that position?
The employees that currently are in this position, are they people who we're anticipating will retire? Is there a likelihood that we would continue, we wouldn't have a need for a part-time role in some interim capacity while this?
I think it depends on the time frame of once we get somebody. If we could extend some of their days in order to help with the transition, that would make sense to me. But if we get them in early enough, the transition could work into their current schedule. So it depends on identifying a person for this job and where the other people's jobs would be.
Okay.
And it wouldn't be just they retire, it would be the positions would also dissolve. Is that
Correct.
what you're intending?
Yes. Those would be gone, this one would take over. And, you know, I'm hoping we can find somebody and train them up to do that, or they have that experience, but until we put it out there, we won't know what the candidate pool might be.
Thank you. Now I'm gonna let you tell us about the bus driver custodial position.
So bus driver custodial position, again, this is, bus driving positions are tough to fill, period. Everybody knows that it's not a local issue, it's a national issue with all drivers, with all school districts. And we're also looking at, you know, finding custodial support's not easy either. We are very limited on custodial subs. We're considering the idea of having one person, it's kind of two separate part-time positions into one, that I think people might be more likely to take a position because it is a full-time position versus part-time. We do have some people in district now, they're an aide and they're a bus driver, or they're a combination of things. This is just taking it to a custodial position. We are, you know, I would say that this has been an area of concern for a while, and we're looking at just ways to help fill those positions. So this would provide somebody, you know, right now we have our transportation director that drives and our new mechanic, he's driving too. We have both people driving at different times because when somebody's out, we gotta fill it out. That's why I drive van sometimes, because there's not somebody there, right? So we're just looking at ways to fill that position with spring sports. You know, really, they started practice Friday or today, one of the two. Those spring sports are gonna be going on too. How do we make sure we get them out? Because if you're going to Xenia, you wanna leave at 3:15. But we don't have drivers at 3:15 because they're just getting done with their high school routes, finishing up their high school routes, and they gotta come in for the elementary routes. So how are we gonna do that? We're looking at all options, including, you know, do we need to look at outsourcing possibly for additional trips that we can't find drivers for, things like that, but we're hoping this could help us out too. So, hey, I got a driver that would love to take a trip, this person can fill in for the trip during that route, and then they can take the trip and leave in time. So we're just looking at all those things to help fill a need. And then again, with the custodial support, again, we are without a large pool of subs, and somebody, a day sub gets, behind or is out, we need somebody to help fill that hole. This person would be able to do that. So it'd be the defined hours of probably, bus driving hours of these hours, and then specific hours for custodial positions as well. So it'd be maybe evening hours for that position. And we're again finalizing that to bring forward. But that's really we have two needs. That a sub position is not attracting a wealth of candidates. And we're hoping by doing this, making it more of a permanent sub position, that we would be able to attract other people for that. What questions might people have?
What happened with the 3 hours of custodial that we approved at the last meeting? Because is this in addition to
No,
that?
we never approved that. Remember, we pulled that?
We pulled it.
We pulled the approval of that person, and it just we approved the hours, excuse me. You approved the hours. We have not filled that position.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have not, the position has not been filled. The position was, originally, we had a person that we were gonna do it with, that was not taken out and just put to the job description or approval. So we have not filled that position. This might be part of that, is that they could take care of this. If they're not driving, this would just be what they would do, take care of that. They could help out with other positions during that time if we didn't need them to drive. We would give them other duties. It might be even custodial duties at the transportation rate in order to keep them busy, because we need all the help we can get. We need the extra
That
hands.
position's just sitting, it
Still
hasn't
sitting
been
there right
filled.
now.
Okay, but that might get rolled into this.
It could
It
get
could,
rolled,
yeah.
it could very well get rolled into that. Yeah. And that was 3 hours a week.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
This would be 3 hours a day.
yeah.
Right.
So
So,
with the construction, most of our spring sports are away, correct?
Just track.
Oh,
So baseball and softball still go on.
Oh, it
And-
is?
Yeah, and
Okay.
middle school baseball, softball would still go on as well. But the track, we're not hosting events here. Those would be all away meets.
I was
Yes.
thinking baseball was also going to be all away.
No, we have a plan to work out the logistics of that, and that's going to be a pretty good parking spot for visitors, for people who want to watch the games on the north side here.
So will this position, will they know that one day they might be doing more bus driving and the next day they might do more custodial? Will they
That will be part of the process.
understand that?
Yep.
Okay.
That will be part of them understanding the hours and the responsibility for that.
it's kind
But
of
I know
like,
some people have asked,
Yeah.
we know people have asked about full-time positions, and we don't have those right now. Like, hey, do you have a full-time bus position? No, we don't have it. We have subs. Well, they're not gonna come here for a sub position. So I'm not sure where they're coming from. This is just information, and then again, with the sub custodians, we need extra subs on hand for all the events and activities, just daily, because it wears on them. If they're working on weekends and evenings to take care of stuff, there's always something going on at the high school. It seems like even spring is not gonna slow down at all.
When Aaron and I spoke prior, I asked how this contract would work, if it's separate contracts, so we had a discussion about how that would work. Do you want to maybe kind of explain that just briefly?
Yeah,
If
so
this
Dave and I
would-
still have to work that piece out, but we're looking at it as like two separate positions, really, so it would spell out, because in the summer, again, when the custodians take their time off, we still need extra help to do that, and we're talking about, again, maybe can we get student helpers to do that, just like we plan on doing with the technology helpers and things like that. Again, have to see if we can invite students to be part of those things. So it would be two separate contracts, but spelled out specifically on that. And Dave and I will finalize those things once we, if we get the okay, we can sit down and then finalize how that works before we start interviewing people. or he'd post a job so that everybody's clear about what it is. But this would be, again, a little different, but it's not unheard of. There's a lot of people have, just like sometimes school districts hire, building subs that are just, they're there to fill in a position. They're paid at everybody, the regular normal teacher rate and everything. That's not something we've done, but that may be something we need to look at in the future too.
So this would be a full-time, year-round position?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh,
yes.
we did?
Yeah, it's a hybrid year position as my notes, yeah.
Sorry.
It would be
thought we were
custodian
saying-
during the summer is what we talked about.
But that would be a third
Okay.
contract.
That would be a
Third
separate, that would be
Okay, I
a
was
separate
like-
piece. But
okay.
it's essentially custodian and bus driver, but it'd be year-round. During the summer, they would be on a custodial only contract,
Okay.
not busing during that. So there's little nuances. I've paid
So they
would be
would still
different.
get benefits, they would still get full-time
Yes,
benefits?
they would still be
Okay.
full-time, correct. Yeah. Providing a need during the summer, we need it as well. And depending on the person, they may only want to work, if they only want to work during the school year, I'm open to that too. They may say, hey, I just want to work during the regular school year, and I'd be okay with that too. But I think opening it to full-time, I think we attract more people.
I know this is a little bit separate, since we have such a need, and I don't know what other school districts are doing, because I know it's a whole statewide issue.
Excuse me.
How do we find more bus drivers? I mean, I guess that's,
I know in some of my past districts that the bus drivers and the cafeteria workers,
Yep.
they'd come in and work lunch, and then they'd go do their routes before
Yep.
and after. And then they had pretty much full-time positions.
Yeah, at the middle school, we have a person as a bus driver, and they work during the lunch as an aide, and then drive in the afternoon too. So we're open to all those, when those positions become available, to work that out. If you recall in the Month Festival Parade, Kevin Goff, the Director of Transportation, was walking in the bus handing out cards for sub-drivers with Tootsie Rolls on them to try to drum up some business. Didn't work that well, but he's trying to reach out and find different ways to get drivers. It's just, if you got a CDL, you've got a trucking,
Yeah.
you got
Yeah.
a job.
we can't
ready
compete
for
with
you.
that right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. So
Can't believe people didn't respond to Tootsie Rolls.
I thought that would have been the winner, yes.
I'd have jumped in.
What other questions or discussion? Lydia? Oh, I thought you were. yeah. Well, again, from this, I hear that Mr. Moran and Mr. Stevens are gonna put the job description and where the pay and the duties as assigned for this person would be, and then we'll approve that at the March meeting as well.
Yep.
Okay.
And the salary schedule.
And the salary schedule.
The salary schedule is already there.
It's already- yeah.
For bus drivers and for custodians, so
Great.
that
So
won't
that-
have to be approved, it'll just be the job description, because they'll fall into X amount of years' experience driving or X amount of years of experience custodial.
And so that would be spelled out in their contract
Yes.
for this particular set of skills.
2 contracts, it'll be this and this, yeah.
So for custodial, it'll be different rate.
Could be a different rate,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda this evening is superintendent goals. Mr. Moran?
All right, something that I shared with everybody again about really kind of come up with a couple goals and priorities for me as we start this new calendar year. Typically, I think the contract says, the board policy says December 31st, you have to have an annual evaluation done by December 31st, and that's something that Ms. McMurray has talked about and kind of putting some
Timeline.
timelines in place when things get started for all that. but really to help maybe guide and understand the work that you're expecting of me, then maybe just do a little activity to help out with that. And I shared my stuff, what I think, again, the two priorities for me is we need to improve student learning, so that's, to me, the student achievement, and then completion of the PK8 and the THS renovations. Getting, it's a big project, and making sure that those things are being done responsibly and with high quality. So what I'd like to do is, I kind of gave you some ideas and kind of shared the outline. What I'd like to do is maybe have everybody team up into a group of 3 and a group of 2. So it sounds like the way things were seated, we have Lydia and Kyle on one side, and we have Cindy and Katie on one side, and Angie is board. But you get to pick where you want to go.
Awesome.
You can go to either one of the groups. But I got some paper up there. But to have a discussion just between yourselves, well, first off, we'll do, what are some priorities that you think should be? And I gave you some examples in my comments, of some examples of what I see as, for references. You don't have to use them, it's up to you. But some examples. But you guys come up with, on your individually, I'll give you, 4 or 5 minutes to think about what you think as, hey, should be some goals. Then you'll work together as pairs to share out what you did and maybe see if there's some commonalities. And then we'll bring the whole group together to decide if we can, narrow it down to a consensus of a couple goals for that. So I have all that paper over there. I'll bring that over here to everybody. You can sit at your seat. You can sit wherever you want. If you want to sit here, if you want to go to a table, because that's how you work better, I don't care where you do your work at. So what questions might anybody have at this time?
So our discussion will prompt some goals that we will decide on as a group tonight. If we want to continue this discussion,
If we can come up with some consensus pieces, then I would come up with actual goals in those areas, so to speak, to share out before the next board meeting.
So within student achievement, we've got different subject areas, reading, math, upper grade, social studies, science, but do you want us to pinpoint specifically one area, or?
I mean, that's really up to you, what you think's important, and building a consensus. We may have more conversations after this meeting, where it's the board president and vice president, we're talking about these things and I may add some value, like, hey, we really think X is important. I may say, that's great, but here's the data on X that says maybe it's not as important as you think it is. This is why maybe this is not this is not the highest priority. Maybe there's some other priorities. And that's why I shared with you kind of where we are compared to relatively to other people, just as some information. There's a lot of information on the state report card that you understand. You see what my goals are for the building principals as well, because that is what are areas of growth for each of those people that may not seem important, but those are areas that are identified based on our achievement that needs to be focused on from my perspective and our administrative team's perspective. So you have that information. If something comes up that you think we need to, again, it could be, I don't know, technology. It could be ethics. It could be, put it out there, and then we can have a discussion, you guys can have a dialogue on what it is you think is important and how would you look to measure those things. To me, again, we are focused on student learning. That's what we're, an institution of learning. That is our focus, and that's where I see it. But you 5 are the people that have to decide that.
And just letting you know, when Ms. Moran and I discussed this, it was the intention that these were his 2 overarching goals, and then potentially what underneath that is that do we feel is important. These are going to be the things that will drive his evaluation, and I'm looking at that timeline. I would like to set a pretty strict timeline to begin that evaluation process in May, and then conclude by July, the end of July, so that we can follow the fiscal year moving forward. And so that will appease the policy to be done by December 31st, but I think it'll just flow better. And that way we'll have a set precedent moving forward. We begin in May, we finish by the end of July. Mr. Stevens, that will flow along with it. So, is that cool?
Also, all the data that's the student
Then it
data
will be
comes
released.
in June.
Yes.
So it aligns.
Yes and no.
Kinda.
It's not public knowledge until later, but there's data
Yeah,
that
Yeah,
we
the
can-
schools get the
This-
data
yeah.
mid-June, yeah.
yeah.
So,
They don't finalize anything till later with stuff, but we should have most of the data's in by the end of June. Yep.
So if you want to grab paper or
Yeah.
use your paper and just kind of chit chat
Does
and,
anybody need a pencil or pen? Everybody got, you need?
No, I'll just type.
You can write it like this.
I already bombarded him.
Because I
Did you?
want to-
I just want to
Scrap
have a
paper to
computer so I can
write
pull
stuff
up.
on?
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
You got a pen? You got a pen?
I got a pen.
You guys will share, and Angie, you'll go with?
Yep, I'm just gonna, since I already bombarded you.
You're
prior.
fine, go with one of them. There's some more here. So do it
I'm
individually
gonna
first.
stand right here. Yeah.
Take the time
I'm
to do
just
it
chilling.
individually first, and then pair up, trio.
Oh,
Can I turn these off for a moment?
Excuse us, can we turn the mics off for right now? Okay.
you can listen to me sniff. Just so it's not echoing.
I was gonna say, actually, if you don't get involved, I think that actually satisfies the sunshine thing.
Absolutely, I'm just
She's
chilling.
not getting involved.
I'm
Right,
just
so
chilling.
it's just 2 and 2, and we're not a-
He and
That's
I
why I whispered to her.
Just
I already gave him my feedback, so, yeah.
there you go.
So I'm just chilling.
What's our timeline? Collaborate.
Can we do like a 16, well now 15 minutes, just some fast brainstorming, and then we can potentially come back together? Is that okay?
So individual for like, you got about another 3-4 minutes individually, and then I'll bring you together to pair up. Or if you're done and want to pair up sooner, you know that, that's fine too.
16. I'm sorry, did you have a question?
Yeah, that was the recording.
Oh, I was like, what? Oh, I was like, what? What? And then, just so that it makes the flow of, or evaluation, do you have like a smart goal format that you'll put it in?
I'll put everything in, yeah, I'll put
Okay,
something.
cool, thank you.
All right, if you could start pairing up, and yeah, go with one of the groups.
I'm gonna stay here so I
Say,
don't
okay,
violate any sunshine laws.
it's a work session,
I don't
but,
give-
yeah.
It's all good. We'll come back together.
No, I'm gonna go. I think I'm at the point I need readers. I'm just resisting it.
Girl,
I'm just resisting it.
I'm telling you,
Nothing helps.
bifocals,
Glasses don't help.
these are awesome. I love mine.
It's just, maybe it's just getting old. I don't know. I got the OLDs, you know what I mean? Okay. What you got?
Okay, so one thing I would like to see, we had a discussion at the last meeting, so we have on the website, that has all of the physical things in the district, be continually updated, including to the public, so benchmarks, so we get a cutting, and also to so it's not just certain people get to do it, makes it just for the public. And then I would like to see about 6 or 7 years ago, a record of the progress of the public requests. So like, this has been requested made, this has been fulfilled. It just kind of helps to be more accurate and essentially, especially there's kind of like 2 or 3 people that are proactively seeking out districts that are not responding properly to filing lawsuits. So I think that would just help protect the district, that we're tracking, yes, we've got those responses, and yes, we have either responded or this is why we haven't. Those are the 2 things that I'd like to see added.
I ran on this, and I continue to be passionate about this, but for me, it's artificial intelligence. Making sure that we're at the forefront, so pioneering, and making sure that our kids are learning how to use it ethically and responsibly. With the disruption that is set to come, it's already here. The disruption is set to come in the next 5 years. That AI is going to cause. I think our kids need to be walking into. So I think that we don't want to be the district that's caught lagging behind. I think we want to keep pioneering, like our AI Academy, things we got recognized for, things like some of that. I think that's just a good trajectory to keep going forward. So in terms of the learning side, but then on the construction side, and the points there, just continue to make sure that inevitably in any construction process, there's going to be concessions that you have to make. You're going to run into cost overruns, you're going to come into material shortages. There's all kinds of different things over the next 2 years that we're going to run into. I think what would be important for me is that whatever concessions we make aren't at the expense of making sure that our building stays cutting edge and the best possible learning environment for our kids. So that we don't have a situation where we're looking back back saying, we shouldn't make a concession on this because now it's going to impact our ability to move this in the future. Maximum flexibility, maximum teaching potential, staying kind of ahead of the curve when it comes to, because we have to go like this, you know, every half a decade or half a century. This is, yeah, once every 5 years we'll have to do school. Now, you know, this needs to be.
Are we gonna hold that until
And as
March
fast as the
then?
world is changing, there's only so much.
His idea for Kids for Summer, yeah.
No, my idea for kids for summer.
The idea for Kids for Summer, as in getting the board to approve
Yeah,
it.
just being
As
thoughtful
in-
about whatever we have to take away.
Yeah, do we have to approve it?
How do we make sure it's
Honestly,
not
I
to
think we just say, hey,
maybe it's just a different type of material.
we did it previously, but it was
I
part
know,
of
I don't know
Sochi.
exactly.
Right, this would just be for maintenance.
Things are so-
We'll
Just
chat
as
about it.
custodial, we'd like
Or
to-
custodial, sorry.
We'd just like to open it up for summer work. How many positions do we want to hire? That's all.
Okay.
Okay.
I can,
If it's gotta come.
I can save it till
There's a
March.
cost overrun on this type of material.
Yeah,
There's
because
a cost
we
overrun
would
on,
probably, you could save it, discuss it in March.
There's
Okay.
this
Get
other
it approved in
stuff that
April,
might be better.
start doing job interviews
Whatever it might
in
be, just think they would be.
April and May, and start working June.
Thought process.
Okay. Okay, cool,
Not
thank you.
getting some of these kids in there and our ability to teach future but making smart.
Of course, it's not like it's-
Lesson.
That could also just be a March work session and then approve the number of positions we want to hire at the March meeting.
Well, we can talk about it when I come in to look at the agenda. Okay, cool.
It's not like we've never hired a part-time maintenance person for the
Yeah.
summer.
So I want to be mindful of that as well, as far as like designing the buildings, one is mindful that constantly being on screen is also not healthy. And I think it would be super helpful, but actually, OSBA thing that we went to, meeting we went to, is they suggested having meetings once a month with the community and have it being very narrow and saying, okay, this month we're gonna discuss whatever. And I think as far as while we're still in the building stages, we could still make some of these material changes, getting feedback as far as parents and kids and innovation for the business. Because I think the more input, you can actually kind of sieve out what good ideas are. So that's another thing. That was their recommendation. I had thought about doing that on their scoped.
How much more time? Minutes?
About 5 more minutes. I said no more than 5 more minutes individually.
They,
and
they
then,
said they're ready about,
Oh.
they're ready in about 2 and. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. Keep
Cool.
going. We're close.
Okay, so if we were going to
Distill it down and
do we have to bring our? It's kind of hard to just make it into like a couple of things. You know,
we can, he's gonna record everything and then he can turn it into like,
distill it down.
yes.
so it's his job. We just bring what we've talked
Correct.
about.
And then he's gonna set his goals. I mean, it's not our job to set his
Right.
goals. We're just giving him ideas of what,
Communicating what we think is important.
yes. And then he has to set his goals into how they would be measured and we can, so that we can actually evaluate, have something to evaluate specifically.
Well, I think we've like chopping it. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we can just.
Okay. We're ready whenever. So you went to my training.
Yes,
You find it helpful?
I did. I did.
Yeah, I think I would have been a fish out of water. When I first got on the board, because I think there's just so much you don't know.
Yeah.
When you sit down and learn about all the things, your responsibilities and the things that are important and whatnot, it helps kind of reframe.
If everyone would just push their buttons on their microphone, make that green light pop back on.
Green button. All right. Well, welcome back. So I think that will just kind of jot some, oh, okay, he's got his computer ready to jot some things down. And again, just for clarification, the overarching goals that Mr. Moran has presented, each year we've asked for his goals, those are his overarching goals. We're not writing his goals for him. We are asking him to write those by which we can use for evaluation purposes. These are things that we find important. They may have a way to achieve his goals. They may not. That, again, that's up to him. They are his goals. Does that make sense? Yes? Yes. Okay, cool. Who wants to go first?
I'd like to share out from their consensus.
Cindy's always so good at starting.
All right,
Maybe we
Cindy,
should just
let's
work
do
our
it.
way. I might steal some of her ideas. by the
I
time it
could
gets to-
spend like 5 days digging deep in.
All right,
this.
Cindy.
You got 3 minutes.
I
We've
know,
got-
I
no,
know,
just
but
3 minutes.
You know,
Wait, man,
report
put
card
that
data
down.
tells us, I think that the new building goal is kind of, I don't think that, I mean, what you put there is exactly what we need to do, monitor it, and I don't have any questions about that. I do have questions about the student performance data, and to me, clearly, the report card indicates a need for a focus on language arts. Language arts is the foundation of all other subjects. If you can't read and write, you can't read and write math, you can't read and write social studies, you can't read and write science. And I feel very strongly that our report card data shows a deficit in language arts performance. And surprisingly, the gifted data also shows not what we would expect. We have identified kids, and only 85% of them are performing above the proficient level. To me, that's a concern, and we need to figure out why. So those are my 2 areas personally, in terms of the student achievement piece.
Mrs. Ernst?
Yeah, I would, being new to this and being new to interpreting the report card, I would, I'm interested in understanding the gap closing, because that does seem like an area that there's an opportunity for growth. And so it is, I see the areas here where we are, have 2 out of 5 in this growth area, and so I'm interested in learning more about what that means and what the goals might be associated with that.
Kyle?
Do you want to go or you want me to
Go ahead, sir.
go? I think a priority in terms of the student achievement side and the learning side for me is just the disruption that we're experiencing with artificial intelligence and how we've been able to sort of stay at the forefront of that, being recognized by the White House for our AI Academy, and the things that we're doing to make sure that our kids are learning about that responsibly and ethically, but also how to make it a powerful tool to assist in their learning. So I think the world's changing very, very quickly, and that is becoming a more and more disruptive and important part of the world that these kids are walking into. So I would like to see that continue, and just continue to stay kind of on the cutting edge. And then the other part for me, the construction part, that is a little more on the nose in terms of there's only so much you can do. You can observe and report and kind of make sure things are staying on track and ask good questions and whatnot. But that's why we hired a project manager, is really to take more ownership over that, even though the buck will ultimately stop with you. I do think, though, making sure that if there's any concessions made, because in any project there's going to be cost overruns, there's going to be material shortages, there's going to be things that you run into that you're just going to have to make certain concessions. It would just be important to me that if we do have to make concessions, and I'm not prescribing what those might be, they'll be unexpected. For the most part, we won't know what those are until they pop up. But I think just thinking through the lens of not making concessions that are at the expense of future proofing. So whether that be a particular material, whether that be not being able to get our hands on a certain type of equipment that we think would be valuable, to aid in students' learning, being creative about where to find something that's just as good, different, better, whatever the case might be, just always thinking through the lens of future-proofing this building, because again, it's something you don't want to do more than once, really in a century, but as quickly as the world moves, it's probably once every half century. So if we're looking 50, 60 years out, I kind of want to think in terms of 50, 60 years ahead and work my way backwards, and what would continue to keep this building as relevant as possible without too many renovations, and there's maintenance, there's going to be all kinds of things you have to do.
So are you talking more about quality, making sure the quality's high? Is that?
Quality is a good one, yeah, I mean, that's in terms, especially in terms of the types of materials that are selected and the types of things. You can't go nuts because we have a budget, but at the same time, you don't want to select things that you're just going to have to replace every 7 to 10 years. So, and then, you know, I'm sure there's things that I am unaware of as it concerns the learning environment that would be important, even as it comes down to the types of furniture that you select and the colors and different things like that. I know that there's all kinds of science behind that, and people that have been in education are much more well-versed in that than I am. But I guess just the filter and thinking through the lens of how do we maximize the lifespan of this building? How do we make smart decisions that are going to be future-proof as best we possibly can? That's my input.
I have one thing, just because I was waiting to see if anybody, I appreciate the AI Academy, and I, like Kyle, I would like to see how is this impacting students who have participated, and if it is a positive pilot, how do we expand it to more students understanding and utilizing that curriculum appropriately beyond a chat GPT and things like that. So to me, whatever improves the skills for workforce development and future employment of our youth is my most important thing. And so every day that I have a meeting with my 400 clients across the state of Ohio, AI is constantly brought up. So I just wanted to build on that, and I apologize
No,
for
you're fine.
interrupting.
You're
That's a
fine.
great way of putting it, actually, the workforce development piece. I think that's probably what I was getting around to too, in a less elegant way, so.
No, I don't disagree with the AI, as we were discussing. I do like the idea of maintaining a holistic approach to education, because as I'm seeing the announcements come out from the district, seems to be hyper-focused on the technology aspect. And even though, yes, we are moving more and more toward AI, I think we'd be remiss if we forget that there are other career fields. And also, we're not just training people to go into the workforce, because there's other options, and I think keeping that in mind as well, so that we can have well-rounded citizens that we're producing, not just people that know how to function with computers. I think that's very, very important to me, especially with the data, and I'd like to see if we could even collect data to see if it's negatively impacting our students of how frequently they're staying, because that comes up a lot in surveys, that constant interaction with technology is actually suppressing people's ability to think through things, and that's concerning. And then I'd like to, we discussed it a little bit at the last meeting about as far as the building and possibly adding onto the website so that there's a continual, just front-facing public website that shows all of the updates for the district so people don't have to ask for them. And then possibly to make it more integrated with the community, announcing ribbon cuttings and benchmarks and things like that, so that if people in the community do want to come down and watch the ribbon cutting, that's just more proactively communicated to them. And then finally, some feedback I've been getting is wanting to see the reinstatement of the record of processing of public requests. So when the public requests information, just tracking that to say, okay, this request has come in and it's been responded to. So I've just gotten some feedback of concern with that. And then
Where would
finally-
that fall? Sorry. I'm just.
That's
what?
for me, not for
Okay.
Mr. Murray.
No, I was just wondering, like, for like under student achievement or building, like where would that
I'm just on.
Oh,
the record.
okay,
Just-
okay,
before
okay.
That's just for Dave's feedback then. And then something that at the OSBA, and I know we're gonna go into that later,
Yeah.
but the recommendation they actually said was once a month or once every couple months to do a very narrowly guided community feedback session where they can, if they have suggestions on materials for the schools, or while it's still in the construction phase, different options for things that we could be adding or subtracting or whatnot. And it could be other areas, but maybe just being more accessible to the public with narrowly guided conversational pieces.
I
So,
think some of those things that you talked about are actually like what we would call action steps
Yeah.
towards the major goals.
Mhm.
They might fall under certain areas to accomplish those types of things.
so yeah, I got kind of four things from you. We got
Okay.
more of a holistic approach to education, making sure we're focusing not just on technology. Is technology negatively impacting student learning? Communication activities, or communication to the community, and then community feedback are the four things. Is that
Yeah, that
Okay.
summarizes it.
okay? Okay. Kind of a little all over the place.
I was just gonna say, can you
Yeah.
bucket this at all?
Yeah. To me, again, yeah, reading is integral to kid success, period, right? And being able to determine what's real and not real in the world of AI, it takes some thinking and reading to do those things. So I think the Language Arts Foundation is again, that's where we went to a new curriculum. We went to standardized, more of a flow for K-12 or K-8 with the wit and wisdom, even with the math, getting to a curriculum that works with the bridges and number corners where kids are having to do the thinking. So all those things kind of make sense to me, and I think it kind of, again, it flows in, but there is a piece of language arts that you see in the elementary level, the the LT ball, and middle school is pretty important that we are focusing on. So I think those are fine. AI, we actually had this discussion at our last, what do you want to call it, our legislative meeting with Norm. You know, we talked about that. I think Katie, I shared something with you as well, the handout about what AI should be and making sure it's human-centric, making sure it's not replacing thinking, but it's elevating people's thinking. That's the big piece. And the one thing, we will probably have a presentation here, probably in April, is what I'm looking at on the AI, just because I think we want to look at finding a way to rebrand it in a certain way that elevates it as well, including College Credit Plus and these other opportunities that we may have, because it is something that happens, right? It is something that everybody's going to have to deal with. And we can go through, last year we tried to do an AI class separately in high school, didn't have enough kids to do it. We're doing some other things, but I think we need to elevate that class because it is something that what they're doing is pretty good. And as you see, we have a trip to showcase some of what our students, what they're doing to high level people to help maybe support what we're doing in that aspect coming up on the agenda. And then communication to the community, ways we can look at that as well. So let me look at these things and see if I can create some goals kind of around those, and we can bring that back here. I can share it out maybe in the next week or so with some ideas, and we can go from there. All right, thank you.
The only other thing that I would add is I'm in agreement very heartedly with Lydia with the holistic approach to education. And I would, and I know that's more of an activity and but I think that we have a younger generation of student coming up that has moved away from technology a little bit. I have an 8-year-old I'm speaking to, I guess, right now. And I would like to maybe, as far as filling gaps, student growth metrics, and increase in proficiency, how do we do that without sitting them in front of a computer for 8 hours a day or handing them a worksheet packet and things like that? I guess that's, that more holistic approach to learning, and keeping that creativity alive in them so that it does carry into these higher performing courses that could be offered down the road. So I just wanted,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, I think that's where the curriculum helps guide those things. When you look at the bridges, it's not what's the answer, it's what are you noticing, what are you wondering about? Even with the bridges and the number corners and things like that, it's more what do you notice about, what are the patterns, what's the connection that you're making to this? There's not one only right answer all the time, right? Sometimes in math, there is other ways to get to it, but it's the same answer, or sometimes there is only one answer, but letting kids figure that out is pretty important. They have to do the thinking. That's really what the student engagement piece is. It's getting kids that they have to do the thinking, they have to make the connections. That's the big piece, not just regurgitating facts. There's a piece for, foundation of knowledge, but that's not everything.
Awesome.
That's great.
Thank you. Anything else with that? Cool.
Just if I can make a side note.
Yes.
Some positive feedback I've already gotten, the changes to the curriculum as far as the language and incorporating that at the younger grades. Some older people said, I wish we would have had something that explored languages earlier on, so please pass that on to Dawn, that the community is really excited about that, everyone I've spoken with.
So I'm gonna age myself, but back in junior high, we did have an exploratory, was that Mr. Goldsberry? I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, Frank. All right. So, yeah, that was a long time ago. Hello. All right, so let's see. Oh, this is exciting. Our last official item on the agenda before we adjourn this evening. Lydia, Katie, we would love to hear some feedback and some things that you learned at your OSBA training as new board members, and maybe some things that we can continue to utilize or reiterate here as we move forward in 26.
Yeah, I'm grateful to the district for supporting us and going to this training. I think we went there, we sat together. It was a great opportunity to, I think, really get into the role and for me personally, to make the transition from being an involved parent to a board member responsible for governance. So I'm really grateful for that. I think some of the things that I took away are really about understanding the board's role with regard to policy, and then how those then can be transformed into superintendent policies and superintendent procedures. And, that I think was you can read it, but then to have, to walk through it in great detail and to look at all of the things that are affected by policy that we would set, I think is important. So that was, I think, is a key area of learning for me, just taking in what that really means.
Okay. I actually talked to Mr. Stevens earlier about, I'm going to forward this because I need to get more concise with my note taking. It's 6 pages long, and I'm not going to do that to everyone here, but I'm going to attach it so if anyone wants to read the notes from it.
Thank you.
There was a really strong focus on sunshine laws and kind of explaining how those all work as far as policy, but also they went over a lot of Supreme Court cases, and that's really just an interest of mine, so I found that fascinating. I was really appreciative. And they did something where they ran scenarios where they would say, okay, this is what would happen, and then we actually had where we could give feedback to the screen, and I can't remember what the program was called either. I'm looking, hopefully you have it written down. But basically, it just got feedback from the room in real time, and then they could interact with the responses and kind of give good feedback on that.
Was it Menti?
Yes.
Yes, yes. I knew she said, I want somebody said it, but it,
It's a great program if anybody needs to use it in their jobs.
and I'll just, like I said,
Awesome.
I'll forward this, and then I actually have the notes from the November conference, because I realized I was remiss in
Oh,
submitting
no,
those,
that's
so
great.
in future, if anyone wants to
Perfect.
read them, those are also
No.
very long. I will get more concise as I go, but
That is great. Well, thank you, and again, this is not our everyday job, and so as there's things that you read or you learn, please don't hesitate to share it with the group, because, I mean, we're all trying to learn so that we can be better for the community as a whole, so, thank you. Okay, with that, I would love a motion to adjourn our work session this evening.
I motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Stevens, can you call the vote, please?
Lyman,
Yes?
Thompson,
Yes.
Dillard,
Yes.
Ernst,
Yes.
McMurray.
Yes. And that concludes at 6:18 our work session.